Hit for my wins, I need my ends. This life is real, and play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. Hit for my wins, I need my ends. This life is real, can't play pretend. Came off the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. I'm on my job, I get it done, but you should know that. Shine like a sun of 101, you should know that. I get the front and in the back, you should know that. No need to stun, it's never cap, you should know that. All I know, 10 toes, never fold, bang roll, on the go, ice wall, ice wall, ice wall. Hit for my wins, I need my ends. This life is real, and play pretend. Came on the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in. Hit for my wins, I need my ends. This life is real, and play pretend. Came on the bench, I get it in, I get it in, I get it in.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Arena STL, brought to you by Field Sports Network and Gateway City Sports. Boy, just 24 hours ago, I wasn't sure this episode was going to happen or not, but dear Lord, a lot of quick changes and even news came here straight here an hour away for the show tonight. Of course, here at Arena STL, we cover the Arena Football League, the Reinsurgents, and things have not been going well, though today things have changed for the better. Before we go to the biggest news that happened this evening, we have to go back to last week. Unfortunately, the first game between the Billings Outlaws and the Rapid City Marshals, they were about to start, but in about 30 minutes, the Rapid City Marshals players said, "We ain't playing. We are not playing at all. We haven't been paid, so therefore we're not paid." And because of this, the Billings Outlaws got a win because of a forfeit. And that was just one of the main things that happened this weekend here. Of course, during that, the Billings Outlaws came with a statement here. "It is with regret that I inform our Outlaws family of the Rapid City Marshals refusing to play tonight's game. They refusal to play is due directly to the incompetence, lies, and deceit by the current AFL front office. This is exactly why I made the statements I made from last week to avoid this type of incident and have immediate change to the AFL front office. This is an absolute embarrassment to the Outlaws organization, and I can promise that I will do everything in my power to ensure this does not happen again. I am absolutely disgusted right now. Our fans, our players, our coaches, and our families deserve better. Time to get ready to focus on that weekend's game. Steve Titus, owner of Billings Outlaws." Then came the game that involved the Minnesota Myth. Of course, this is, of course, Lee Hutton's wife, Diane Hutton, the owner of the team, and they didn't travel. So that's not just one, but two games that ended for week 3 of the Arena Football League. Then we actually had 3 games. Let me repeat, only 3 games because a few other teams had byes. West Texas Desert Hawks were able to play this week because remember the last show, because of a lawsuit in federal court, they had a stay from a judge. But them, the West Texas owner, and the National Read League came to a settlement, some type of cast settlement, most likely, and they were able to play, and they were able to beat the Washington Wolfpack 34-21. Then, a very surprising, actually, the Salina Liberty beat the Nashville Cats 50-20. And then, finally, an upset, in my humble opinion, the Wichita Irregulators beat the Kansas City Storm 44-42. That was last Monday night. Now, of course, we go to the biggest news that has happened. Of course, you might have known that as of right now, Jeff Fisher has been announced as the interim, let me be clear, interim commissioner of this new iteration Arena Football League. And I have here, where is that statement here? Here we are. Here we go. This is by GC6 Sports, which actually owns the Property Arena Football League. If you remember from last show, apparently Lee Hutton, they signed a deal to get the rights to Arena Football League, but did not pay. By GC Sports, today the Arena Football League announced Jeff Fisher, current president of football operations for Nashville Cats, will serve as the interim commissioner of the league. This decision was made by a unanimous vote of the current team ownership groups in alignment with GC Sports Investment Group, LLC, the owners of the AFL and its intellectual property. Fisher, former NFL head coach for the Titans and Rams, stated, "Months ago, when I decided to help return the Nashville Cats and Arena Football to the Music City, I did so because of my affection for Nashville and wanting to give back to the community that's been a blessing to me and my family over the years. We are now 3 weeks into the season and the league needs help, and I agreed to help the league. I am honored the owners collectively have confidence in me to lead them. Moving forward, the AFL will retain a 10-team, let me be clear, a 10-team league consisting of the Albany Firebirds, the Billings Outlaws, the Nashville Cats, the Orlando Predators, the Rapid City Marshals, the Salina Liberty, Southwest Kansas Storm, Washington Wolfpack, West Texas Desert Hawks, and the Wichita Regulators. The league ownership group and the league office will also be speaking with other teams not mentioned to discuss and perhaps include them in current games/seasons. The Arena Football League has shared the next few weeks of revised game schedules and expect to release a full revised schedule in the coming days. Chris Jetty, managing member of GC Sports Group. So, as you can see, what started as a league of 16 teams has now become 10. And the other 6 teams that are not going as of right now, of course, is we know that the Philadelphia Soul was put on pause. Then, of course, you have the Georgia Force, which really didn't have ownership to begin with. That team was the last team announced and was just thrown in. Then, of course, you got the Louisiana Voodoo, and which, of course, for last week's episode, I talked about how the head coach there talked about all the problems it has. He did what he can, and was able to find those dang padded things to put around their stadium where they had it. And then, of course, our Rampage, they're gone. And then finally, the team with the stadium with the most safety hazards was, of course, the Oregon Black Bears with that rodeo fencing for their padding. So now comes to wonder mind, what is next? Oh, wait, that reminds me, because in order for this vote to happen, there was the Minnesota Myth, once again, the commissioner's wife team, and she actually put out a statement before this official statement happened. Because remember, with the Minnesota Myth, they had money for pyro and some other things, but didn't actually have the money to pay their players. And she put out this statement. Dear Minnesota Myth fans, the promise of bringing another professional team to Minnesota was bright and filled with hope. The vision of the Minnesota Myth was to build a team focused on a community engagement and bringing people together to celebrate not only football, but also connection and community. Unfortunately, the effort was lost in the waves of negative chatter and misinformation that plagued social media, led by intentional efforts from non-supportive teams within the league and other individuals, which means the other owners. Consequently, Minnesota Myth has ceased operations and all future Myth games scheduled at Target Center are now canceled. Refunds are available at the point of purchase and will be automatically provided by AXS. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my staff, as well as to all the players, dancers, sponsors, and fans who supported the team even amongst this turmoil. It was truly an absolute pleasure working with every one of you. Diane Hutton. I hate to say that, but part of that is probably the most gaslighting things I have ever read. Because, as I said before, the Minnesota Myth didn't pay their players. Once again, they were able to pay for pyro. And now comes the question, because Minnesota's gone, and remember, the Target Center was supposed to be holding the AFL championship in July. I guess we'll hear within the next couple days where the championship will actually be played. One thing though, this comment was caught by another owner's knowledge, because on the Levesque and Goss show, a Fox Sports radio show that actually was broadcasting a show at the Albany Firebirds GM offices, he was kind of being a little bit more, let me say, polite, and was saying that, like, I don't know if she's talking to me personally, but like, that's not what this is. And I'll just have to say, throughout the whole turmoil, it now seems like there's going to be some let me repeat, steadiness within the Arena Football League. Heck, during a press conference, Jeff Fisher said when he was announced as the interim commissioner, and this is what he said: this league is good. We are looking forward to continuing and finishing the season. He adds he hopes to bring integrity and truth to the league. And that's what this league needs, because as short as Lee Hutton's reign as commissioner of, well, I guess now we should call this Arena Football League 3.5, if you will, because it's a little bit different. You got new leadership in charge, and also let me refer to this again. He is the interim commissioner now, so they're probably right after the season, because he is part owner of Nashville Cats. They'll probably try, if there is a season 2, and hopefully there is, that there would be probably someone that could be trusted. Of course, everyone knows that how they got here. Things were promised to the owners that didn't happen. Like I said before, that Rapid City Marshals and Billings and Outlaws game, those were teams that were in the Champions Indoor League that is now defunct. And they had a contract which said, because each team, they had to pay an entrance, like an expansion fee, entrance into the league type of fee. And they, excuse me. And one of the agreements for doing that is the league, not the owners themselves, would help pay for the players, the travel to games, and also, I believe, room and board, if I remember reading the contract correctly. And some of those promises were not met at all. And that came to one of the reasons why that first game I mentioned earlier, the Rapid City Marshals players basically voted right about 30 minutes before the game, and the game got canceled. Now comes the interesting question now, because see, like I said, it's now a 16 league from there to a 10-team league, and now it's trying to do some reshuffling here, because now you got 5 teams in each conference. And now you have to figure out, it looks like only the top 4 in each conference are going to make it to the playoffs. And that also brings another thing I want to mention as well. When it came to the playoffs, if you remember, some of the playoff games are going to be played at potential expansion franchises. And on our first show with my guest, Zach Kielman, there was supposed to be a team in Arizona, and the owner of the Arizona Bandits, he was already going around talking about this and that, and they were supposed to announce the arena that they were going to play in after week 1. That did not happen. My guess is probably from all the stuff going that probably pulled out, and believe it or not, I believe, I'm trying to remember, it was either the Billings owner, the Marshals owner, or was that interview with the head coach of Louisiana Voodoo that said that the Arizona guy pulled out? And now it comes to, because we know the first seeds are going to get home games no matter what the number 1 seed is. Now the question is, how do the other home playoff games go? And more importantly, where will the championship game be played? Because they could still play at Target Center, but I doubt they want to, because now there's comes a question like, will there be a franchise there? Because now it comes to what happens to these other franchises. Because like I said, in that press statement that they said they're going to talk to the others that are not going to be part of this league at least this year, and probably at least schedule kind of technically non-conference or non-league games. And honestly, I like the Oregon Black Bears, but I am disappointed. But if they only had better arena options, they would probably still be there. So, it's just very interesting how this goes from here. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave there and I'll answer them as soon as possible. Now the question is, like, what happens now to try to have a successful season here and try to recover from the mess that Lee Hutton left them? Because he left a big mess. Because they have to build back their reputation. Because remember, before all this happened, everything seemed good. At first, there were still a little bit questions on a few things because the Georgia Force was like the last team, and they still technically didn't have arena to play. The Philadelphia Soul, that was a big deal there because now the question is, because that team was put with ownership just last week, and now where does that team go now? Because right now it's like the franchises that are not playing, and I'll read them off again: the Philadelphia Soul, the Georgia Force, the Minnesota Myths, the Iowa Rampage, Louisiana Voodoo, and the Oregon Black Bears. My guess is they'll probably still want to bring back the Louisiana Voodoo, the Soul, of course, because they're trademark franchises. The Minnesota Myth, they probably going to, if they put a team back in Minnesota, they're going to probably just rebrand the whole thing because, boy, for the gaslighting that Diane Hutton did in that message, honestly, it would be better just to bring back the Fighting Pike. If that to happen. Iowa Rampage, that's, you could do either or with that. Just have to find better ownership because at least this group of owners have a little bit of a raised eyebrow what happened because players were complaining about pay for more of the ownership stance rather than the league. Now it comes to, as I said before, what's next? Because I'm guessing they're still going to play on the Viral Network, but that could change because with Jeff Fisher, they could get back on the NFL Network. They could have something with Gray Television, but we'll just have to see on that the next couple of days. But on my humble opinion, as I said, this has saved the Arena Football League, at least for now, as becoming the dumpster fire festival. At least they have a chance to recover. Will they recover is the question. Of course, one thing here, as I said, this show is called Arena STL, and of course, we're based in the St. Louis area. Now comes the question, what happens to that area? Because remember, there was supposed to be an Arena Football League team in here, and we were supposed to get one, and it looked like we were getting one. And like I said before, Patrick Pill, before he became the Philadelphia Soul head coach, then had to resign due to, as I said before in a few minutes ago, that they want a team here because of the fan base of how St. Louis has done well with the St. Louis Battlehawks. And of course, probably the number one thing, because the good thing about St. Louis, and this is for any sports league, St. Louis's location is the best when it comes to traveling, and it's just right there in the middle of the country. Of course, when this news happened, because remember last week, I mentioned, like, before the whole announcement, there was this weird ex Twitter account called the St. Louis Rampage, and after this news, all of a sudden, after being dormant for months, it became active. And I'm just going to describe what they have on here, because first it was like a stock photo of some shadowy figure just breaking chains saying, "I'm free." And it was just saying it wanted to apologize what it did before, because it could have caused some trouble for St. Louis getting an arena team again, but I don't know. I kind of thought it could have been a planted by the Huntons and all that because of there being a problem. Of course, now it changes bio as the former hoax team of the biggest Arena Football League. Now we've got something cooking. Stay tuned. STO Hashtag hooks up. Honestly, I don't know what this is because I don't know. It came to like the pin post now. It says to all, this account will either be used for something else or left inactive. We currently do not affiliate with the AFL. If the new Rand AFL wants to have this account, we will give it back. The only question is, do they even ever had it? That's the question. Did they even have it in the first place? All previous tweets will be deleted. And it said, we also want to add, what we did was very stupid, very regretful, and we will never do what we did before, and we don't want to get in trouble again. We already have something in the works coming soon. The 2 eye emoji. Though for some reason it complained. Of course, everyone starts to unfollow us as soon as we come back. Like, I don't know what they're trying to do here. It's like, honestly, it could be just some high schooler just trying to play and all that stuff. But the question is, as I said before, what does this mean for St. Louis' future for arena leagues at all? It's open. Like, it could come with, if the AFL survives, could come with the survival of what happened here. Because like I said, St. Louis is right there, and it's a valuable market for any sports league, in my opinion. Of course, now, as I said before, with the with this new iteration of Arena Football League, we just have to see what happens in the next few weeks. As I said, it'll be interesting. Will it come tumbling down after Jeff Fisher has become the interim commissioner? Or will it rise and recover prior as Phoenix rise from the ashes statements? Just have to see. We'll take a little break here, and we're going to discuss something new in the arena football world, and it's actually quite interesting. Be right back.
Houston, we've triumphed. I've made it back to Earth with the cargo intact. The game-changing, time-sensitive payload is none other than the revolutionary energy flavor we've all been waiting for. Introducing Merc Mayhem Cherry Limeade. Merc Clan played a crucial role in securing this energy flavor, and together we've unlocked the future of power. Merc Mayhem is not just a drink, it's a statement, a fusion of relentless energy and bold flavor. The secret is out. Merc Mayhem is set to redefine the energy landscape, leaving ordinary drinks in its cosmic dust. Get ready for a taste explosion that matches Merc Clan's unparalleled power. Join the revolution, and let's unleash Merc Mayhem upon the world. Astronaut M signing off.
Same great taste. Yes, same great taste. Same great taste.
Welcome back. Before I discuss what's new in the arena football world, wanted to read the Selena Liberty statement from the owners. In light of the recent developments in the AFL, we would like to address our understanding of the situation and, more importantly, communicate our actions and decisions we are taking as the proud Salina Liberty franchise. Many of the reports and stories around the league that we have read about have brought great concerns to our ownership group. Additionally, we can say unequivocally that the league has not fulfilled many of their contractual obligations they have made to the Salina Liberty. With that said, we do not feel that the proper place to address these issues are on social media. We will take the necessary steps to address them, and we will do that legally in a professional manner. At this time, we only can take care of things that are under our control. This has been the mantra within our organization since its inception. We have built this franchise with a championship mindset, and that includes all levels of the organization. When we will make a commit to our players, we have always delivered. We are proud of these young men, and more importantly, we care about them. We know they have made a big commitment to leave their families to come and play for us in Salina. We don't take that lightly. We want Liberty Nation to hear the following from the Salina Liberty ownership group. We will play out the 2024 season. Our schedule will change, and we ask you for your flexibility during these dynamic times. We are working together with the owners of the active teams to strengthen the AFL. We are not here to just play out the season. We plan to contend for the championship. We want our players only worry about preparing and performing. We want our coaches to only worry about game planning, coaching, and winning. We want our fans to enjoy our games and support these young warriors. We want our business partners to be proud of our organization on and off the field. The ownership group will focus on taking care of the business part of the day-to-day. We own that, we take responsibility for that, and we will find the means to fulfill our obligations. If there ever is a time, it is now that we ask for your support of the Salina Liberty football. We will need Liberty Nation to come out stronger than ever before to our remaining home games. We continue to work with our business sponsors on new sponsorship opportunities. Business sponsorship opportunities are still available for the 2024 season. Please contact GM, blah, 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 blah. So that is an example of one of the better ownerships, and that's probably why they stayed as the final 10 for now. Okay, now to talk about one of the newest things that caught interest here at the Fuel Sports Network here. There's actually another new league, but it's a little bit different. It's not, they took about, I believe, 2 to 3 years to develop, called the Arena League. It's a little bit different here. First, let me play the announcement video of the league here.
Nearly 40 years ago, a new version of the game was born to captivate fans. But over time, it lost its genius. Now, all of that changes.
New athletes, new rules, new teams.
Boundaries will be pushed with one goal: make this game fun for our fans. The Arena League is coming in 2024.
Find our story at arenaleague.football.
The Arena League. Are you ready?
Now, the person in that video is the commissioner and chairman of the Arena League. That is Tim Brown. And if people know some famous college football players, he's one of them. Tim Brown, of course, played for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish and won the Heisman Trophy. So there's a little bit more of a person that has a lot of football acumen for the commissioner in this one. Lee Hutton was more, even though he played for the University of Minnesota, was mostly a lawyer rather than had success in the NFL and such as well. And they also have a deputy commissioner, Ronnie Davis. Of course, people who are known probably in the Orange and Dallas area probably know that name because he's worked for basically every franchise in Orange and in Dallas. The Cowboys, the Rangers, the Mavericks. And he actually helped lead Jerry Jones' AFL team, and I remember pretty well, the Dallas Desperados. So what is a little bit different with this league? Well, let me show what the rules are, and I'll explain a bit more detail.
The Arena League's new innovations will push the boundaries of football. Key changes to traditional arena football will highlight our players' athleticism, create a faster pace of play, and provide a more exciting form of the game we all love. The Arena League will play on a traditional arena football field that is 50 yards long and 85 feet wide, enclosed by padded walls. 6 players will play on each side of the ball. There are no restrictions on defense. All players on the offensive side of the ball are eligible receivers, with 3 offensive players lining up in traditional guard, center, guard formation. The only other restriction on offense is the player lined up in the quarterback position cannot advance past the line of scrimmage with the ball in his possession. This rule set will produce rosters that are more athletic and versatile. To create a more up-tempo game, the play clock will only be 20 seconds. No offensive huddles will be allowed unless a timeout is called. No more players walking around after a play is completed. This is fast and quick football. All players and coaches will communicate with helmet communication systems. Fans will be able to listen in real time to player and coach communications. The Arena League is giving kickers the boot. There will be no field goals or kickoffs. Teams will be forced to go for it on 4th down or surrender. Onside kicks will be replaced with onside conversions. Kickoffs will be replaced with QB throw-off. The Arena League will continue to innovate to give players new opportunities, to give fans new excitement.
See, a little bit interesting, huh? Because original arena football was 8-on-8. Now it's 6-on-6. Took away a wide receiver, a secondary person, a linebacker, and the fullback. So now it's just the quarterback that has the ball the whole time after being hyped. And if you didn't see with the rules there, the quarterback cannot go past the line of scrimmage. It can't do any rushes or anything like that whatsoever. And the defense, there's no restriction. So you don't have the Mac and the Jack. The Mac only can go either blitz or only to cover back. And then the other one goes side to side. So a little bit interesting there. Quick, shorter play clock, 20 seconds. So it's going to be a lot of no huddle and a lot of communication between the quarterback and the coaches with the headphones. And of course, as you saw, the kickers are totally eliminated. No field goals, so there's no nets. There is no type of field goal. You can't even punt it. So it's only done by going on 4th down every time if you get there. And I'm trying to look more about the QB throw-off. My guess, in a way, it's like a kickoff. They kind of, I'll double-check this next week. The quarterback just throws the ball out for a receiving team to get. That is my guess, because that's what it sounds like, quarterback throw-off. And this team, like, it's not that big. It only has, they started small. They did the opposite approach of what Lee Hutton did with putting 16 teams. There's only 4 teams. 4 for the first season. They already got 2 expansions for next year. And the 4 is, there's actually 2 teams in Missouri. First one, the Ozark Lunkers. And that's kind of like a fishing type of deal with their logo and stuff, and that's of course in Springfield and Ozarks. Of course, everyone been down to that was the area known to have the YMCA Trout Lodge and all that stuff there. So they have a arena team in Springfield, Missouri, and then also in Kansas City called the Kansas City Goats. Interesting. And then the other 2 teams is in Duluth, Minnesota, and probably the best team name I have heard in a while for arena team. The Duluth Harbor Monsters. And then in Waterloo, Iowa, you have I guess there were a lot of Ric Flair fans. They're called the Iowa Woo. Interesting, though, because next week I'll show the logo, and the logo's their mascot's a wolf. And they done a little bit interesting thing, too, when it comes to officiating. Let me play that video right now.
The football referee. Old, slow, and easily confused, they struggled to keep up with the more agile, fit players. Like many of Earth's more primitive creatures, they will soon be extinct.
Blown calls, slow games. Football leagues think it's still 1920. The Arena League is different. Only one official on the field to mark and set the ball and make penalty announcements. Sky judges watching live video feeds decide penalties in real time. Coaches and fans will have access to referee communications, and coaches will be allowed to communicate with officials in real time. Best of all, a public grading system to hold officials accountable for their performance after each game. Faster, fun, fair. The Arena League. Are you ready?
They kind of combine with the official what the UFL does with the transparency when they go through the challenge and stuff, and it's quite interesting, and I like it. You only have one official on the field that spots the ball and calls the penalties, and have multiple sky judges, as it seems. And I kind of like this, and if you didn't hear, they will get fans a chance for feedback for the officials. So everyone for any league has been wanting that type of system for years, because we have seen a lot of bad calls when it comes to officiating, not just in football. Dear Lord, don't get me started with the baseball umpires calling a strike when it's like 5 feet from the batters, from the strike zone. And one thing with the Arena League, as from the first video, it's actually going to be a lot of fan sectors up. They want the fans involved. Heck, with the Iowa Woo, they actually closed to have their voting done naming of their mascot. So it's going to be interesting what that mascot is called. And here in Field Sports, we found that not only just because there are 2 Missouri teams, this is actually kind of interesting. And next week they start doing preseason. And there's already some, if you will, with multiverse standards in the world, some things moved over from Arena Football League. Heck, Rakeem Cato, the quarterback from the Iowa Rampage, is actually just signed a few days ago with the Kansas City Goats to become their quarterback. And also, too, with their preseason games starting next week, the Duluth Harbor Monsters are playing a team called the Dallas Falcons. Why have I heard that name before? Oh, I remember now. That was the team that dressed up as the first version of the Philadelphia Soul Week 1 Arena Football League. Remember when all the players that were on the Soul originally didn't travel with the team, weren't getting paid, and Pat Pimmel resigned? Somehow they just took a AAL2 team, the Dallas Falcons, put Philadelphia Soul jerseys, and the Louisiana Voodoo just beat the crap out of them. So now they're going to Duluth and face them in a preseason game. Interesting indeed. As I said before, here in Arena STL, we're still going to cover the Arena Football League. As I said, will it actually fall to the ground, or with Jeff Fisher's new commissionership as interim? Because it'll be interesting, like, after the season, who do they get to actually become the full-time commissioner? Because this league has potential when it's done right. We saw the Albany Firebird games against the Nashville Cats, the Orlando Predators. And the Predators is one of the better franchises. This can be good, or will it just somehow fall? And honestly, if it does fall, it proves that Lee Hutton wasn't the only problem. But we'll just have to see. As I said before, I would try to go down with the week 4 of Arena Football League, but because of this change in scheduling, we won't know until a few more days to see what the schedule is. So I might post on the pages here about my picks and stuff for week 4. And like I said before, we'll discuss a little bit more of the Arena League, and there's a possibility of having a guest next week here on Arena STL discuss not just the Arena Football League, but also the Arena League as well. Thank you for joining me this evening. I'm Will Freeman, and thank you for joining us here at Field Sports Network at Gateway City Sports. Up next will be the Talking Texas Football podcast here in about 20 minutes. See you next week.